It's Justice Thursdays. We'll be having a Justice Thursdays conversation at 9 a.m. For now, we'll have a conversation about owning a home. We've been telling you about the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company. Yes, you know about that. So Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company is owned by government and 9 banks and 11 Saccos. What you just need to do is you go to one of those Saccos and you tell them, nataka ile deal ya KMRC. They give you a home loan for below 10% interest rate, which is going to be fixed for the entire duration of the home loan, which can stretch up to what? Up to 25 years. We'll tell you some of those Saccos and banks. One of them is called Imarisha Sacco. And the boss of Imarisha Sacco is here with us in the studio. So we'll talk about how you can own a home. We help you own homes. And also we'll tell you how you can take advantage of the soon coming Hustler Fund. Before we welcome our guests, let's hear the day's proverb, City.
Yes, we're still in the land of the pharaohs. Egypt. Every man is rich in excuses to safeguard his prejudices and his instincts.
It's a long proverb, but
Oh, no, this isn't long, my
sounds
friend.
like somebody who's just sounds like a rant.
There's a proverb that I read from Chad, which was a paragraph of something like around 7 lines. Paka, you wonder, okay, why are you calling it a proverb? Why
You
did you
think
call
you
it-
woke up today. Let me tell you, you did not wake up today. What you did today.
Yes, when the zebra crossed the road, and you're asking, okay, make up your mind. Is it my sleeping or is it the zebra?
So every man is full of excuses when it comes to safeguarding his
Prejudices and his instincts. You see, when I read this proverb, the thing that occurred to me is what brought this about? Because proverbs emanate from experiences. Something happens over a period of time and people want to encapsulate it in a statement, either as a warning or it's something that ought to inform you. So you want to shorten that entire experience into a statement or a sentence or just a few words.
Yes.
And I haven't arrived at a point where I can actually understand what it is that brought this. But
Sounds like a rant.
yeah, on the surface of it, we all have excuses. We all kick the can down the road.
It's true.
It is so and so who did this, and we start as children.
So let's go around the room and hear what people think. Our guest host today, Daisy Maritime, what do you think is the meaning of this proverb?
First of all, I'll say that proverb holds a lot of truth. Because I think as human beings, we are engineered... City is laughing.
I'm smirking. I haven't started laughing yet.
As human beings, we are engineered to be predominantly inward looking. So our perspective is permanently dominant. It takes being deliberate to actually shift perspective, number one. But number two, what that proverb is saying, I think, is that it's hard to let go of beliefs. It's hard to
Right?
it's hard to shift perspective.
You always have an excuse
That's-
why you should remain
Yeah.
with
It is counterintuitive to
intrinsic.
people to
to think outside the box.
Yes.
That's a good one. Tim Kipchumba, who is a policy analyst and aspirant for the Elgeyo Marakwet senatorial seat. Good morning, man.
Good morning.
Welcome back
Good
to
morning.
the Situation Room.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
That proverb.
I think it's true. We are in love with what we think, with our worldview of the world. And I think it takes a lot of empathy and a lot of listening
To
to
think
be
outside the box.
understanding in us to say, you know what, just maybe I might be wrong. I think I think another most unique thing to find out is people that say they don't know. In fact, when we used to hire in our company, we would look for people that can say, I don't know. 3 Kenyan proverbs. 3 Kenyan proverbs, yeah. Honest politicians, people that can say, I don't know, and then people that can actually answer their question, where are you? Without saying, I'm coming.
Thank you, man. Then we also have another guest in the studio this morning. Charles Sigey is a director and a treasurer at Imarisha Sacco. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning, listeners.
Karibu sana to the Situation Room. Welcome to the hot seat. You're actually the one who is in the hot seat. Everybody else is a guest.
Thank you so much. I don't know how to cool it. And we'll move on. Perhaps you can read it once more for our listeners to get it right.
Every man, this proverb is not gender sensitive. Every man is rich in excuses to safeguard his prejudices and his instincts.
This is where you want your boundaries safeguarded. But you are doing it out of, it may not be good intention, malice, you don't want to assist any other one, you just want to live in your own world. But at the same time, nobody wants his own things like giving out on the road and everybody like collecting and doing that. You safeguard. I safeguard Imarisha, for example. I don't allow guys to come around
Jokingly.
Right.
Tell us about Imarisha Sacco. We'll be talking about in greater detail because you're one of the shareholders of Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company.
Yes.
But tell us about the Sacco itself. Introduce us to the Sacco.
Wow. Imarisha Sacco was Kipchumba's teacher Sacco long ago, 1978. It has come all along. We had around 100 members. We are talking of 160,000 members right now, running across, I can say, the world. We have over 2,000 members in the USA, also in Australia, Canada, outside Kenya. Right now we are 19.1 billion asset base, and we are the
Again,
19.1 billion.
19.1 B.
Okay, I had 1.9.
Asset base.
Asset base. And we are ranked number 7 in the Republic of Kenya among us what we call the national Saccos. We are not a national Sacco. National Saccos are those like Police Sacco, Harambee. They have branches all over. After them is Imarisha. So from the county Saccos, we are number 1. And you are dealing
And this is
with
number 1 in what? In asset base, in membership.
in asset base. You know, we look at the asset base. That is where the economy of the Sacco is seen. And that's why the ranks are done along that line.
When you say asset base, what do you mean?
It's about property that you have in terms of the main property here. We are talking of loans and the loan book and other properties that you have in terms of taking care of members. All these are members' properties. So that is where we are.
So properties as in fixed assets?
Yes, they are all in fixed. They are in shares. They are in deposits and all that.
What about running business entities?
Yes.
Like, do you own cafes? Do you own forex bureaus? Things like
Petrol
that.
station.
Petrol station.
They do have a beautiful building in Kericho.
Yes, one of the tallest, around 11 story, which we rent out. It belongs to the members. It's worth almost 1 billion, and among others. So what we are talking about is our core mandate, and in cooperatives and in Saccos, is about loaning.
Yeah.
Not much about any other thing. Maybe if you are running business, is where you are letting, like what we are doing in Kericho now. And it is because it belongs to the members. They constructed it.
Yeah.
And by the way, when you are in that building, should you come, I'm made to understand you are my neighbor somewhere.
No, you and I are neighbors, actually.
Yeah.
I passed your place on my way to
So next time, give me a call.
Yes.
When you bring my brother here.
Tupelekwe tour ya hiyo building.
Tour. We have the state-of-the-art customer experience center. Guys from all over Nairobi and outside Kenya are being brought to come and see what we do. And a 24-hour call center. Yeah. So our members from the diaspora can call us any other time.
Can I ask a politically incorrect question, just because we were having that conversation about regional balance earlier? How diverse is your membership?
We are all there. All the tribes of this republic. All the ladies, all the gentlemen, all the young men and women. They are all
And
there
others.
and they are members. By the way, you'll find, I know you are
Is there a dominant?
Because we're starting with Kericho teachers.
Yeah.
I know you are leaning towards maybe how are ladies performing there. Can I tell you?
No, I'm actually leaning towards because it started as Kipchumba's Sacco.
Kipchumba.
All right.
Yeah, so
All right.
because of its heritage, is it predominantly Kalenjin membership? That's what I'm asking.
Oh no, it used to be, but when we changed, when we branded to Imarisha, because we wanted to move further than that.
Yeah.
Can I come with Kipsigis teachers and establish it in Kisumu or in Mount Kenya? They won't accept it. So we changed the name so that because we were focused. Earlier on, we have so many Saccos around, teacher Saccos, that were based at their own home background.
Okay.
And that is why when he changed, all members came like everybody now. Perhaps if we have the Kalenjin or something like that, the ratio is almost 60-40 or otherwise 50-50. Everybody is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody is
But
there.
also, as you were speaking, what I thought was, now I'm speaking as a former teacher. Okay.
Oh.
When you hear teachers Sacco, teachers, the teaching fraternity, you were never really posted because
That
of
is
your ethnicity.
true.
You were taken where you were taken.
Across the country.
Yes. So if it's a teacher's Sacco,
The original delocalization.
exactly, you are likely to be representative of the whole country.
Yes.
Yes.
And
That
that
is
practice was mirrored also at the student level, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So Imarisha is one of the shareholders of KMRC.
All right.
So I can imagine that one of the products that you have is a home loan and home ownership program. Tell us about that.
Yeah, true. KMRC, Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, is a government-owned and run, and we bought shares there, and we are part, and a few Saccos. It's on the basis of owning homes, as you've said, and this is where we are talking about constructing homes and maybe selling to the members of those who want. And there's also, when you are a Sacco like us, you have the option of taking loans from us, practically and meant for the home construction. And here we are talking about urban, but KMRC has also moved and accepted that some towns are so small. It was actually aimed at construction on the urban areas. But we have moved further than that. KMRC now is focusing even in the rural, where you can do a very good home, and through the tailor-made loan in KMRC, members are able to construct at whatever level.
Ordinarily, what kind of loans do your members come to take? I mean, what is the reason why they come and take loans from your Sacco?
Generally, we have almost 28 products, for example. These are there are those that are common. You were once a teacher, always a teacher. You'll never run away from that.
That's absolutely true.
And you find that we have the normal loans, that is for development, construction, and all that, emergency loans. But now there are those that are tailor-made to your members, specifically. There are those that you can even go for 24 months. Even when we are talking about the Hustler Fund, we'll mention even what we call Sacco loan. A mother, may I not say a mother? There are so many. When we say Sacco, we are like ladies going there. But even kuna wanaume siku hizi hapo.
Wanauza, yes.
Wanauza. So you come in the morning, apply for your Sacco loan, tunakupea 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, get your chair, go and sell in that market. By Friday, you repay. So you can wake up without any money. At the end of the day, you have a few merchandise, you sell. By Friday, you repay. So that is what we do. There is so much we do in Imarisha. We give loans up to 96 months. We also do mortgage and all that. I'm talking because many Saccos, some of them do that, some of them don't do. But we have gone that far. Yeah.
When one talks of Saccos, my mind went back to, in fact, it's odd, when I was looking at the people we were having as guests this morning. Oddly enough, this was around 2:30 in the morning. My mind went back to a time when we had a certain commissioner for cooperatives called Alfred Birgen.
All right. I know him.
That man shook up. I mean, the cooperative was like some sleeping giant at that point in time. Then this gentleman came in, and suddenly people became very aware of what Saccos were and what Saccos could do. And then I look at the history of Saccos, and I realize that the financial institutions that most Kenyans in this country appreciate are Saccos. It's something they can relate to easily.
Absolutely.
Yes. And if I look at statistics and the data that's available, when I look at the default rates of Saccos, it's one of the lowest in the financial sector.
Correct.
Yes, probably it's because of the way they guarantee the loans.
Probably. Is it
Yes.
that, by the way?
And by the way, it's because the Sacco is owned by the members. And here, people like going to the Saccos because, do you know, in other financial institutions, it is a straight line. It's either you qualify or not. It's either you know this or you don't know. But in Saccos, you can say, okay, can we circumvent? We are not breaking the bylaw, but we can circumvent until you get something small. And the Saccos are also in a leeway. For example, in Imarisha, we have something, we are the only one doing that. We have what we call a welfare known as Pongea, where we take our members to hospitals. After they have used their covers, insurances and all that, if exhausted, Imarisha comes in. For example, cancer cases, we pay up to 1.5 million for our members.
Wow.
And we give them 300,000 for upkeep. You know, cancer is becoming so prevalent.
Yep.
And many homes are lack property, they sell and everything, they remain without anything. Imarisha comes in. We take you any hospital of your choice. Here in Kenya, we have MOUs all over. For other ailments or diseases that are more of chronic, I don't know how to use that word, we pay up to 1.2 million to our members. We are the only ones, by the way. And good enough, we have extended the same to people who are addicted to alcoholism. They want rehabilitation, we pay for them, for our members. And for, do I say the ladies or families who are not lucky enough to have children in the normal way, we do IVF, in vitro fertilization, and we pay for them up to 1.2 million. Do you know we have around 25 children to 30, actually 27.
They would not have otherwise been born.
Who would not have been born, and here is a mother family who have had their children. They are called Imarisha babies.
Imarisha babies.
Yes.
I am so extremely
we normally
impressed.
go and celebrate them.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that it's very difficult to tell the default rate of Saccos. I think it's, as Saccos is one area that needs a little bit more legislative oversight. SASRA is trying its best, but it's the most important movement in uplifting people. I mean, Saccos, 1 trillion asset base, 400,000 people employed, 22,000 cooperatives. But today you can never tell because there is no technology, the law is not yet improved to actually protect member savings because most of it is still Sacco reported. SASRA can only tell you what the Saccos tell you.
So they don't
We've
have...
seen failures of Saccos in the last couple of years. The level of stringent regulatory environment required of a movement that is handling a trillion shillings, Saccos are still far behind. In that sense, I mean, the regulatory environment and the regulatory framework is still far behind. The level of audit required, the technical audits that are required in terms of IT, I think Saccos could use a bit more support. Is it a fantastic movement? Of course it's a fantastic movement. I just think that if we are not careful, as we have seen in the last couple of years, members could lose significant value and you wouldn't otherwise know until the moment comes. That's not true. That's not true.
Not yet. I want to ask Tim the question. Maybe that's the reason why Saccos are so attractive. Because they don't have that stringent regulation. They are not overly regulated.
But the regulation is not so much. It's members that are saving. You have to at least protect their savings.
Tim, let me ask you this question. I mean, as you're going forward, your point is really very well made. Eh? But look at fintechs. Okay?
Yeah.
In terms of the business that they do, how many trillions is it?
We talk about the mobile lenders.
Yes, the mobile lenders. Look at. I'm speaking anecdotally here. Look at, say, M-Pesa.
But that's fine. That's their own money. This one is members' money.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I am simply saying members' money should be of more concern, if not the same concern. This is really where I'm going with this.
Exactly.
Because people who save there, that's all they have. Most people, there's nothing more they have beyond what they have in the Sacco, so it should be protected more.
Absolutely.
So I was simply asking this question with that as a reference. If you look at the net worth of that particular industry, okay, what sort of regulations do you think would bring about the safeguards that you're talking about?
One of them is technology. Technology-related standards. Just the same way banks are required to meet certain level of stringent audits on their technology. Okay, real-time access to central bank has real-time access to your cash balances, to your assets, so that every time you miss ratios, you are able to, you either have to ask for support from them, or you ask for another bank to give you support, or something like that. Right now, you can't tell that from the Saccos. Yet, SASRA already requires of that, but the Act requires of that. But they don't have the capacity to implement that.
And yet, banks collapse with all this oversight.
I would like to say this. It's not like even when we didn't have SASRA. Right now, we have our regulator whom we report to them on a daily basis. And they are able to detect where there is anything wrong. And by the way, where there is no goodwill, where people want to finish anything, even the banks that are so regulated, we have seen them collapse. So it's about the goodwill and more regulation. I agree with you. I don't deny that. But where we are now, it is far better than that.
It's a really interesting conversation because at the DNA of a Sacco, it is community-based.
Yes.
It is trust-based. And it is also, part of its formation is about moving away from the intimidating nature of the bank. There's something that you said, that the rules are not linear. You can negotiate based on your circumstance. So I think it's about finding that balance of regulation that is not too stringent that it chokes you, but at the same time offers protection to the
So let me give you an example, even without embedding
members' money.
Embedding additional legislative. Right now, what he's saying is right. They are required to report every day. But if you compare, the self-reported numbers vis-a-vis the real numbers, you can't. And the only way to have to see cash balances is to have real-time technology.
Yeah.
Is to have SASRA have access, okay, supported by legislative framework to the cash balances of every Sacco. Because if you allow the dogs to carry the sausages, of course they never get to the other side.
I agree with you. Real time.
You have to have real-time access to the information that the regulator is seeking. We don't have that framework today. That's an opportunity to say, you know what, Saccos are doing a fantastic thing. All we want is sunshine.
In that fantastic. Let us take a break.
How I pray you win your
the Senate bill.
Yes, the Senate, and then you go and start from there.
Absolutely.
I'll really wait for that.
Let's take a break. Charles Sigey is a director and treasurer at Imarisha Sacco, one of the shareholders of the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company. We are talking about owning a home, management of Saccos, and then looking at the other giant Sacco that's going to be launched on the 1st of December, the Hustler Fund. And what we should expect from it. Tim Kipchumba is a policy analyst and he is an aspirant for the Elgeyo Marakwet senatorial seat. He'll be telling us about that. And we also have Daisy Maritime Miner. She's our guest host today.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Daisy Maritime Miner is a governance expert. She is our guest host throughout the show today. And the guests for this hour include Tim Kipchumba, who's a policy analyst and aspirant for the Elgeyo Marakwet senator seat. And we also have Charles Sigey, who's the director and treasurer at Imarisha Sacco. Let's talk about saving and the savings culture, because that's what we're discussing. So even the president is saying, we've got to really, really think about our savings. Kenyans already are ahead of that, because if you talk about like how much Kenyans have put in savings, 1 trillion shillings is no small change. It's a regulation conversation, the team you're talking about, but also looking at the various products. I'd like to switch quickly into the Hustler Fund.
Maybe just before that,
Yes, Tim.
I think it's absolutely fair to appreciate, the Sacco movement. Number one globally,
Kenya's
number
Sacco
one in
movement.
Africa, number one in Africa, number 7 globally. Our movement, Sacco movement, $1 trillion Kenya shillings in assets, 400,000 people employed in it, 30% contribution to GDP, the 55% membership is male, so you have a reasonable, it's actually close, very
Gender
close
balance.
to gender parity. So we really must appreciate the Sacco movement. I don't think Kenya would exist without the Sacco movement, and everything must be said. So even any legislative endeavor, any legal requirement that we bring to support Saccos has to come with that in mind, to say how can we actually get more young people in it, because right now the median age for Saccos is predominantly older now. It's no longer the young people. True. How can we get more women into the Sacco movement, and then how can we actually increase Saccos contribution to the GDP? How can we raise that contribution from 30% to 35%? And I think the answer lies not just in regulatory support, but in technology. Okay, get more Saccos to be more efficient. Okay, so that their process for origination for loan, the process for processing for loans, and then subsequently the process for dispersing. And I think that builds the conversation around what I really hope Hustler Fund can do. Not necessarily to replace Saccos or to replace banks, but to supplement and complement what they currently do. Because Sacco Fund, the Hustler Fund is significant. Okay, you look at the size of the Hustler Fund, it's sending a message. The Hustler Fund will be bigger than CDF is today. Okay, Hustler Fund will be nearly 15 times 150 billion Kenya shillings is more than what was dispersed in the last 15 years on all the other funds, WESO Fund, Women, WEF, all the other funds that were supposed to support SMEs. So what the president, I think, is saying is that, he's making the point that because a significant portion of our source of job employment, 80% of it is coming out of SMEs, I need to do anything that I can, because 68% of all SMEs say that the biggest challenge is capital. So, I mean, just to really, really appreciate the Sacco movement, just so that, I don't want... I don't want...
It has not come out that way, Tim. Don't worry. We
No.
know what you're saying. We know what you're saying. The Hustler Fund, like you said, is going to be a big one. From what you're understanding, I'm just going to start with you, Daisy. What do you understand the Hustler Fund is going to look like from what the president has said so far? If you look at what he said the other day on Mashujaa Day, and he said, so we're going to start it up in December. We encourage people to save into it.
Yeah.
Part of that saving goes into their pension, and then the government will also then support through it, and you'll be able then to access a loan out of it. It sounds like a Sacco.
It does sound like a Sacco. And what we should also point out is that perhaps because there's still some elements that are not clear about the Hustler Fund. We've been getting information in drips, and some of that information, from the president there's also been a shifting of goalposts, because our understanding of what the Hustler Fund was going to look like initially was that it was going to be interest-free credit, but now we know that an interest will be charged, which makes sense because 10%. Like many other funds, it should have a revolving element, right? That the fund continues to increase so that other people can access it going forward. But from my understanding also of the Hustler Fund, even the title Hustler, we are made to understand, is those people who are in business enterprise. And the president said that this fund will particularly target those ones who are in smaller and micro businesses, like boda bodas and mama mbogas and whatnot. But there's also a segment of young people who are getting into business. I know that one emerging detail is that what the president had said would provide eligibility for those who want to get access to the funds would be being a part of a Sacco, isn't it? Because then that Sacco would guarantee or provide collateral for the fund. But one free advisory that I would give towards the Hustler Fund, particularly that which is targeting enterprise amongst young people who are starting business, small and micro business, is some sort of complementary service from the government in terms of business development services.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why? Because then this goes towards ensuring that there's lower rates of default. You're basically safeguarding this fund by ensuring that these businesses that are actually going to be started or that are going on can grow, that these guys are getting access to entrepreneurial training, to managerial training for their small businesses, to credit management, or even facilitation of access to markets. So I think that's a missing element in this Hustler Fund conversation.
How is a Sacco like Imarisha going to be part of the Hustler Fund?
I think even those guys who have no idea about Saccos will be forced to understand this time around when we are talking about the Hustler Fund. Do you know that there are people who don't know in this republic how Saccos like, and of course there are few. Now what will happen is this: we were with the CS yesterday, and we got an opportunity to understand how they want us to go about it. I know they are passing the legislation on 27th, around there, thereabout. What will happen now? First of all, it is not any other Sacco that we see, that we hear, who will benefit from this. It will be deposit-taking Saccos. They are called DT Saccos. These are that are regulated by SASRA. So all these others forming those groups and all that, calling them Saccos, well and good. But now from the Hustler Center, the kitty, the money will be dispersed to deposit-taking Saccos, who through their regular framework, already like us, we exist in the MSME. We have a fully fledged department with staff. We have been doing that. The Hustler Fund will be channeled through us all the way to the members, using the procedures and regulations and the laws that we use as a Sacco to do it even right now. We disperse the Sacco loans, we disperse the house loans, we disperse the coffee, the farmers, all the farming, including our Mua. We have Mua loan. We are in Awasi, by the way, in Kisumu. We give these guys their small loans through the MSMEs. So we disperse the money to reach them through their societies. But now, in the societies, for example, the coffee societies outside their cooperatives, they are members of Imarisha, and we recognize them. So when we disperse these funds to them, it is down there now, they know whom are we giving from here. So that is why those groups that they are forming are also very important. And of course, they are registered. Using our knowledge down there, we will always follow them. We shall educate even the more, and we shall catch up with them. We know those who are good in repaying. We know those who are not. There are also the startups. You know, it is not very easy to fund a startup business. But the Hustler Fund will be tailor-made in a way. They'll give us the regulations now, or how they want us to do the startups, and we shall follow. So all is said and done is about the credibility of those groups down there, whom we know as Saccos, on how to give and disperse this Hustler Fund.
So the final disbursement is on the Saccos themselves.
Yes.
It's a Sacco that determines who to disburse to and how much.
Exactly.
And does the Sacco then have extra mandate to ensure collection and repayment?
Yeah, that is why, especially for those Saccos who are in MSMEs right now, like us, it is us who have the mandate, because the hustler fund at wherever it will be will be looking at the Sacco who was given the money to disperse. They don't know the other person on the other end. The Saccos they'll have the duty of going for that money for their funds. So we have a lot of work, by the way.
The current guaranteeing scheme in the Sacco is where, you look at the deposits, you look at being guaranteed by your fellow members, and in the event of default, we go for deposit, then we go to your guarantors to ask them to repay. Is it going to apply the same way for the Hustler Fund?
Basically, what happens is the groups will be formed. They'll have their bylaws and how they are going to follow. They must also demonstrate how they are going to have their members repay the money in their bylaws. So the repayment will be basically, that is why we need the chairman, the leadership of those groups are people of integrity. That's what we tell them. It's not very easy, by the way. It is not very easy. But at the end of the day, we will do it the way, because we are already in it.
Yeah.
We are already giving members, lending the groups. And the same will happen.
You already have a system, a functioning system.
Yeah, functioning system. Fully
You look concerned.
Sorry?
City looks concerned.
I'm listening to what my namesake is saying.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that part of the problem we have when dealing with finances are the literacy levels that our citizenry have when it comes to financial matters and the management of this same finances.
True.
And from what I hear him saying, an opportunity has arisen now where when one works with all these other groups, an opportunity to actually get them, the members of these small units, chamas and whatever, to actually be better versed in understanding matters finance.
True.
The discipline of it, the benefits or that accrue from ensuring that you are in tandem with the required regulations and so forth, something which previously has not been available, because we get into the finance sector with the mindset that we've acquired over time, and very rarely is it in tandem with the reality of what institutions have. That's why this conversation of the Hustler Fund, why are we now paying? There's nothing like free money. It doesn't matter what you say.
I think you are coming in very nicely.
Yes.
I want to thank you for that. In fact, everybody now, we are out there. We've been doing education, financial literacy, earlier on to our members. We are going now to be so robust in that field, because it's like everyone says, Hustler Fund, imekuja, it's for free or something like that. That is not the case. So we are going out educating members on financial literacy, on what to do for you. By the way, it is not everybody who is going to get the Hustler Fund. However, it sounds it's like it's money all over. Not everyone will get that. It's only those who are ready. Can I say also, they'll start with steps. There are those that will be handled on the phone, where you can go for the Hustler Fund loan through the phone. That one is left to these big companies to disperse. And then there is also the individual, where one will take on his own individual level. That one will be handled again elsewhere, at the same time in the Saccos. But what we are talking about, and this one needs to be understood, is that the Hustler Fund is meant especially for those people who are down there. They could be having chamas, but they need to understand what lending is all about, what repayment is all about. It's not easy, but we have to do it.
Yeah. No, I think what is exciting, and we shouldn't lose it, is that loans to private sector in Kenya is still a very, very, very tiny portion of our GDP. We are 3 times less than South Africa. We are only 10%, which is even half what was there pre-corporate days. And so there is real demand. There is real demand for credit, affordable credit, and accessible credit. It's not even just affordability. In fact, Kenyans are willing to pay a little bit more if it's accessible. What the president is now saying is that he will take the format where, and at the end you will pay around 10%, and even if it's 12%, it will still be around the cost of a Sacco, what a Sacco would charge you anyway. But at least it would be available. Now, 50 billion, to be honest, is a really great start and an ambitious start. But it's not that much. Remember, loans to private sector last year was 3.2 trillion. And that was not enough. We have markets like South Africa that the loans to private sector is 3 times, 4 times what Kenya is as a proportion of our GDP. But I think the exciting thing, and what I think people should be hearing, is that what the president is saying is that ideas matter and assholes matter. And assholes matter, meaning the people that, remember, we assemble motorbikes in our company, one of our small mobility division, okay? If you sell the bike to someone, you sell it to say 130,000 Kenya shillings, okay? Locally assembled, Kenyan bike, decent bike, 160cc. But by the time they own it at the end of the year, they have paid double. So what the president is saying is that let's find a way of getting that person that money. Can you imagine? Many, remember, 300,000 motorbikes are sold every year. 300,000 motorbikes are sold every year. Imagine you could save those people 70,000 shillings, 80,000 shillings in interest. That's employment created, because 70,000 all of a sudden is very, 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 very close to minimum wage. Because right now they are making a little bit of money and still pay double in interest. So so I think that's really, I think that the whole point is that I think we really need to get back the country to the place where people are reimagining. Remember, there was a time when Kenya was a leader, world leader, supplying 90% of pyrethrum, and our parents in Leland, in Kaptarakwa, in Kapiego, in many parts of this country relied on pyrethrum to go to school. 70s, 80s, 90s, people were educated through pyrethrum. There was a time when, livestock worked out. Potatoes would actually educate farmers. Mangoes would take kids to school. Right now, last year, say in Elgeyo Marakwet County, a bag of potato was sold for 300 shillings, which is less than 2 plates of chips in Nairobi. Like there is something wrong there. And so what we are now saying is that if we can get more people that are hustlers to participate in the co-creation of wealth, that's a really good thing. And Hustler Fund is promising by saying, you know what, let's just contribute a small, tiny portion, which is honestly less than 5% of the market needed. I spoke to several CEOs of banks and MFIs, and they were like, no, it will start to make a big difference if you start to do more than 250 billion shillings per year. But 50 billion is just a great start. And the bet that the president is taking, and the Kenya Kwanza is taking, is that right now, our second largest import is just oils, edible oils. Okay? Only second to oil. So we import crazy. Nearly 25% of our forex is spent importing oil. Now imagine we could put more money through Hustler Fund into agriculture. Suddenly we can substitute the oil import, okay,
with local production.
Pause. That vision, that picture is beautiful. Especially when you give it 3 to 4D, it is beautiful. There's one component. How do you then partner with people who, like Saccos, who will ensure that the process that is required and the education and the knowledge that is required to carry this thing through? Because people will eagerly get money.
But
they'll eagerly want money.
It's already happening.
But will they access the money?
Yes.
It's already happening. In my 100 meetings in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Yes.
100?
Asking the 100 meeting last week.
This man counts very well.
Eh,
He's gone to 100 before the government has gotten the 100 days.
I never
Him is gotten to 100.
finished any single rally without asking young people, asking women, asking them to form groups, and inviting them to be part of a group or to be part of a Sacco, and then they can potentially apply for Aslafan.
But you see, now this is a work that Team Kipchumba is doing.
No, yes.
It's a work that the government should
our
be doing.
governor are
Creating
doing
that
that. The
awareness.
government is doing it. I mean,
You know,
Which
Tim,
one?
you're an aspirant. You know where we're going with this? People who are actually in positions of power and authority and have the means to.
no, to be
And
fair
ha-
to them,
yes.
to be fair to them, all the members of parliament from my constituency, in every meeting
From
they
your
do,
county?
yeah, and from my county, in every meeting they do, they ask people to.
So beyond talking, what else do they do?
No, I think that's not the point. The real point is this.
Really?
The real point is this: is that Aslafan will cost 10%. It's the cheapest amount. It's the
It's
cheapest
okay.
cost of. That's
How
the
much
second one.
awareness is there? You know, that's the point. That it is like, this thing is coming in 3 weeks' time.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many people know that in 3 weeks' time there's going to be a fund, and if you have formed yourselves into a group, if you have joined a Sacco, if you're saving in a Sacco, then it gets you closer to getting access to this money. How many people know that, Tim? Not many. The people that you have been meeting in that last
have
1
no
week,
idea.
they were
Hustlers know
hearing
that.
this for the first time. Were they?
Hustlers know that.
Yes. What do they know actually? That there's money coming, isn't
They
it?
know that they need to form a group.
Yeah.
They know that they need to start saving in that group.
Uh-huh.
The government will match savings.
Tim,
Okay,
the problem,
2 to 1.
The problem is how to manage that money. And you are a business person. You know the statistics of how many businesses are started
City,
and how many
I'll cut you
collapse.
short, City. Gentlemen, I have to cut you short. Our time
As you are
has just flown like that.
as
We
you
have
are-
10 seconds.
I haven't even asked
Imagine.
our aspirant a
And-
question.
and
as
yet-
you are cutting her
and yet
short,
our time is on.
I was going to ask this.
Yes.
Who is a hustler? That is the question that I would have started.
A hustler is everybody.
Ponder that.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Charles Sigey is a director and treasurer at Imarisha Sacco, and Tim Kipchumba wants to be the next senator for Elgeyo Marakwet County. He's a policy analyst, he's a businessman, has many things. Daisy Maritime Miner is our guest host. She stays on into the next hour.